Auburn hosting the Crimson Tide in Jordan-Hare in the Iron Bowl, one of the best rivalries in all of college football, looking to play spoiler on the Tide season, as well as Vanderbilt looking to get a resume-boosting win in Neyland to try to make the college football playoffs, and finally, Pittsburgh and Miami battle for spots in the playoffs and spots in the ACC championship. Let's get into it. Starting off, let's talk about the Iron Bowl. This game is, if you just look at these two teams on paper, Alabama should win by 100, is what it would look like. But remember, this game is in Jordan-Hare, and there's always some voodoo magic going on in that stadium, that this game is always close. Auburn could be 0-15, 0-50 over the last 5 years, and they would come out and they would make this a tight football game. This stadium has a way to make games way closer than it needs to be, and in this rivalry, it's always a close game. Traditionally, it's going to be a close game. I expect nothing less in this one. The over-under currently is set at 44.5. I think that's super low. I think this game is going to be higher scoring than that. I think that a lower scoring game definitely favors Auburn with how good their defense is, but I think that we're going to get into a game where their offense is going to have to play a little bit more like against Vanderbilt and against Mercer and go score 40 points to win this game against Alabama, where they're going to go score almost 40 points most likely. For Alabama, let's start with them. It's pretty simple. A win and you're in. A win and you're in the playoffs. A win and you're probably in the SEC championship if everything falls correctly. This is a game, but if you lose, and that's what Auburn's trying to do, they can spoil your entire season and you will miss the playoffs if you lose this football game. Kalen DeBoer, would that be back-to-back years where they lost in one of the last weeks of the season to get eliminated from the playoffs? Nick Saban's not going to be happy about that one. This is a must-win game for Bama if they want to make the playoffs. Also for them, how well can their offense go against a very good defense? We watched them go against an Oklahoma defense that's so good, and they scored 21 points. Can they go score more than that against a Auburn defense that is also very good? And for Alabama, how long do you try to run the football? We've watched them try to run the football, but at some point in the game, it's not working, and they tend to abandon it. At what point in this game do you abandon it, or do you try to lean on the run because of the environment and let Ty Simpson not have to go throw the ball 45 times in Jordan-Hare where it's loud and where the Auburn safeties and defense are going to be lurking? They're going to want turnovers. The person who wins the turnover battle in this game, in my opinion, will win the football game overall. It's that simple. Only one team has won the turnover battle against Alabama, and that was Oklahoma. If Auburn can replicate the blueprint that Oklahoma laid out on how to beat Bama, Auburn can win this football game. They have the personnel to win the football game. They have the good enough players. They have the great receivers, the great defense. Does Auburn have the mentality to go win this football game? Their coach has been fired. Their offense has been horrible all year until he got fired. The team finds ways to lose, it seems like, every game. They're similar to Arkansas. Can they find a way to win this one? This would eliminate all those other games. Who cares about all the other ones? We lost those. This one, winning this one, would make Auburn's season. For Auburn, how much can you get the ball to Cam Coleman and Eric Singleton? And this is a game that you're going to have to get the ball in your best players' hands. Those are your best players. If Cam Coleman is one-on-one, throw it up to him. I don't care if he's being pressed, if they're playing 10 yards off. If it is a one-on-one coverage play and you know there's not a safety over the top, give him a chance because most likely he's either going to come down with it or it's going to be an incomplete pass. That is a matchup that you have to like all day because he's your best player. Get him the ball. Eric Singleton, he is so shifty in space. He's hard to tackle. Get him the ball in space. Throw him screens. Throw him simple crossing routes. Get him in space and let him work instead of making your quarterback do the dirty work. On the flip side for Bama, how can you contain that? How do you run a cover 2 or a cover 3 where you have a safety over the top to help contain these elite wide receivers? How does Ashton Daniels be able to see in between those zones and find the open spot? Can he do that? We'll have to find out. It kind of goes the same for Alabama, though. They have great wide receivers in space and down the field. How can Auburn combat that? It's going to be a lot of the same back and forth. These two teams are very similar roster-wise. It's kind of weird. It's just one team executes a lot better, and that is Alabama. Can Auburn come out and execute better for once in the season? And for Auburn, I think you want to limit the possessions. I think that you need to lean on Jeremiah Cobb. Get him rushing. He does not need to have 300 rushing yards in this game. But get him 20 carries and get him 100 yards and make Alabama realize he's a threat. Make Alabama have to think about the fact that you might run it this play. If you eliminate the run and they can just sit back and guess pass, you're going to lose. You're going to have to make them think the run is an option and make them play the run. And that's what your key is to be able to win the football game, is do that. Bring the safeties in the box, be able to spread the ball down the field. I think it sounds silly, but the ultimate thing for Auburn, the blueprint to win, is no turnovers and no dumb penalties. This Auburn team, if you've watched them all year, they do those two things way too much. And special teams. You have to win special teams. They will have a tendency to miss kicks they shouldn't miss. They will have penalties they shouldn't have, especially untimely penalties. I'm pretty sure Auburn has the most penalties in all of the SEC, if I'm not mistaken. They will go out there and have untimely penalties. Oh, 40-yard catch? Guess what? It was a holding call. Oh, you got a 40-yard catch? Guess what? Offensive pass interference. They find a way to screw it up and to make the dumb penalty when they don't need to. At the flip side, Alabama doesn't. They only had 2 penalties against Oklahoma. They lost that game, but 2 penalties. If you only have 2 penalties in Jordan-Hare, you're going to win. You have to be disciplined, more disciplined team. It's a rivalry. Which team is more undisciplined? Which team wants to chip and jaw on each other's faces? Who gets unsportsmanlike? Who gets the dumb penalty for pushing someone? It's going to happen. It's just if you're Auburn and you want to win this game, it can't be you. You can't do it. You have to be disciplined, and I hope that DJ Durkin is preaching that on the boys that week to make them be disciplined in this football game. I think ultimately this is a game that's going to be close. I think it's going to be a close game, but Alabama is just the better roster. They're the better roster. They're the more disciplined team. To be honest, if these two teams flipped the rosters, but one was Alabama and one was Auburn, I would still pick Bama because they're so much more disciplined. They play a more executing style of football. They execute everything better in the runs, the passes, the defense. Those are what you have to do to win, and Alabama does that. Auburn does not, so it's just really hard for me to think that Auburn has a chance here. I'm going to go with a final score in this game, 31-27. Give me the Tide. I don't love it. I don't love it at all. But that's what I'm most confident in at the time of filming, because I think the Crimson Tide are going to be able to pull it out. But do not be surprised if Auburn goes in there and pulls off the upset. Next up, let's talk about Vanderbilt going down to Neyland to play Tennessee. The obvious thing here for Vanderbilt is a win, and it's a resume booster. You're the number 12 team in the country right now, and you go win this football game, and you can really solidify yourself with a spot in the playoffs. But you have to go win this football game. It's not an easy game. Tennessee has been much better recently. After that loss to Oklahoma, they've been rolling. They're scoring points. They went into Gainesville and won for the first time since 2001. The vibes in Tennessee are at all-time high. They're not making the playoffs. Trust me, they want to go beat you. They know that you're playing for a playoff spot. They want to go snatch that hope from you. Tennessee at home is going to do everything they can. Vanderbilt, you have to go have another game where you have Diego Pavia have 400 scrimmage yards. This is a game that I think is going to be an absolute shootout. There might be 80 points scored in this football game. It is like that. Neither team has had great defense recently. Vanderbilt's defense is definitely better than Tennessee's, but Tennessee's defense and their secondary is so bad. I think Vanderbilt is able to push the ball down the field and score quickly. I think for Tennessee, the best thing you can do to try to win this game is keep it slow. Run the football. Control the clock. Control how many possessions you're allowing them to get and how many you get, and that's the best thing you can do. And don't kick field goals. Your field goal kicker is shaky. Score touchdowns. Touchdowns wins these games. If you're Tennessee, you got nothing to lose. Go out there and score the touchdowns. If it's 4th and 4 and you're on the 30-yard line, don't go for a field goal. Go for it. You have an offense that is very capable of it. We've seen it. Go test Vanderbilt's secondary. Give Chris Brazell, throw him the ball 50 yards on a go route. Give Brandon Staley the ball in space. Give Mike Matthews the ball in space and let those receivers work and make life easy on Joey Aguilar. And hopefully he can continue his 200-yard streak of passing yards that he's had his entire career. And lastly, I want to talk about the Miami versus Pitt football game. This is a game that has huge implications on the playoffs and the ACC championship. Pittsburgh gets a win, and either SMU or Virginia loses their games. Pittsburgh is in the ACC championship. 2 weeks ago, we were calling Pat Narduzzi crazy for saying in his press conference, we could go lose by 105 to Notre Dame for all I care. It's not a playoff game. And maybe we were the ones who were wrong, because if that he really was, then he was obviously not preparing for Notre Dame. He prepared for Georgia Tech and Miami, and they just went out and smoked Georgia Tech. They were up 28-0 in the second quarter. So in Pat Narduzzi, I trust, and in this game, I think that Pat Narduzzi is going to give up a good effort. But at the end of the day, this Miami defense is legit. They're not going to allow 28 points in the first half like a Georgia Tech did. Matt Heichnell is not going to go get that many passing yards and that much total offense that early in the football game. I think Miami has to lean on their defensive line and lean on their defense. Run the football well and lean on the defense. And for Miami, Carson Beck, play a clean game. If you have 2 interceptions, Carson Beck, y'all are going to lose. It's that cut, dry, and simple. You are going to lose. And if you make the playoffs and Carson Beck has that many turnovers, you're going to lose those games too. Carson Beck has to play a clean football game. Or on the other side, Mason Heichnell has to go have a clean football game as well. Don't let this Miami defense get to you. You're going to have a tough time with that defensive line. They're going to be pressuring in. How can you escape the pocket, run, and then be able to find your guys down the field? I think that Pittsburgh, they have a way to win. It's going to be lean on the run game. They had 201 rushing yards last week against Georgia Tech, and it ended up being a run for 50 yards that sealed the win. They can run the football well, but Miami can stop it well. I think it's going to come down to if Georgia Tech can limit the possessions that the other team has. I've said that a lot in these videos, but it's true in these games. They have to limit the possessions, have the ball for longer, and be able to score touchdowns, and I think you win. However, I think that Miami's defense is good enough that they're going to stop you a lot more than you stop them. So I think Miami pulls out a win here pretty convincingly. Give me a 34-24 win for Miami, and I think that my dark horse for who should be in the playoffs is Miami. It's not really a dark horse, or it's a bold prediction because of where they are in the rankings. We're watching the rankings committee put Oklahoma above Alabama because guess what? Oklahoma beat Alabama. We're watching them put Texas Tech above BYU because Texas Tech beat BYU. But at the same time, Miami beat Notre Dame, but Notre Dame's ahead of them. It doesn't make sense when Notre Dame has 2 losses and so does Miami, but Miami is behind them. The committee needs consistency, and the consistent pick would be put Miami in the playoffs. They are a playoff caliber team. If you've watched that Miami team, you know they have a playoff defense, they have a playoff offense, they have a quarterback when he's not turning the ball over. He's a championship level quarterback. Those are the 3 things you need to win a championship. Miami has them. Put them in the playoffs over Notre Dame. Remember, everybody, these are just my takes, so make sure to leave y'all's down below in the comments. While you're down there, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and hit the noti bell, and tune back in the following Monday for all of our reviews from the biggest rivalry games of the week. Boomer.